What's up, guys? Today I wanted to show you how to replace a starter on a snowblower here. It's your typical MTD type starter, and what you're looking at here is the gas tank sits here, so you got two bolts top of the gas tank that runs through that bracket. You remove that, and then this part over here, there's a screw hole here and here. That simply gets screwed down here. Now to get the gas tank itself off, there's this bracket here, and underneath the gas tank there is a, see if I can get a shot. I don't know if that's picking it up, but there's a slot there, and it just slides right onto that piece there. So you undo this bolt here, and that comes off. You take your gas tank off, and then you got two bolts here. Now those don't tighten up against this starter. In fact, if you look at it, you can see they got like a horseshoe. So what I would recommend doing anyway is pulling these two out using some Loctite, the blue stuff. Put it on them, snug them up good. You don't want to over tighten this because it's aluminum. You'll strip it before you break them threads. Now, the two screws that go in here, it comes with new bolts. Mine was lost. I have the other one here, but it was already ready to get sheared. And you can also buy pinions for these starters, but I just bought a whole new starter, and I'm going to keep the old one, and I'll buy a pinion, and I'll pull this plastic cover off. There's a retaining ring underneath it. Pop that off, put the new pinion on, and I got an extra starter in case I need it. So like I said, these two bolts up here, when you push this in here, you want to make sure those wires are out of the way, and this will never tighten up over here because they're shoulder bolts. But what I want to emphasize here is these bolts that are going to go through the main holes of the starter on the bottom. Okay, these are going to go into there. Now a good idea is to use some blue Loctite, but also get these spring washers and put them on the bolt like I have it, and that's going to help with the Loctite and the spring washer to keep that bolt snug to that starter. Okay, so we got the bracket back on here. I did put Loctite on there at the two shoulder bolts, and then under there you could see we had the two other bolts with them spring washers. Now in this case, these bolts were hitting the bottom here, and there's no way to get a socket in, so you're gonna have to use a wrench and an open end. You're not even gonna get the box end on there, which sucks because you got to be careful that you don't round these heads. And another tip is before you put these bolts in and the starter on, run the bolts in, clean it out real good, like with air. Don't use any lubricant, or else the Loctite isn't going to stick. And once you run the bolts all the way down, make sure everything's clear. Then take the starter, take your bolts, your spring washers, put the Loctite on, run it through, and it's a bit of a challenge. Probably be easier if you take the tire off to get in at it. I didn't do that. Next part, we're going to take the gas tank, we're going to set it back on here. Okay, so we got our gas tank sitting there. I don't know if you're going to see that under there, but it's sitting on the bracket. It's mounted, and you're going to take your two screws, put them back in. So once you got these guys cinched down, don't over tighten them because it's only plastic. You're going to take this box here, you're going to run your screws down, and you're only going to snug them up to that cable It just runs up from the starter right here. Okay, so we got this plugged into the wall. We'll go ahead, choke it. And she works again, knock on wood, right?